What is up, YouTube? Today I'm going to be doing an update on my 71-gallon setup for the Reef Tank. I'm going to be going over everything. I have not done an update video in a long time. I lost some coral. I had a clownfish that is in my sump now that I'll talk about in a minute that was killing my corals because at night he would toss sand on top of them and completely bury them. And he killed a couple really nice corals doing that. So he's in jail right now, which is the Sump, and I'll show him in a little bit and I'll talk more about him. But for now, I'm going to be going over the tank really quick. So actually not really quick, I'm going to be going in detail. So this is the 56-gallon tank. I've got a 15-gallon Sump I'll talk about, but first, this is the 56-gallon tank. Here's my lights. It's a 165 watt Wills light that I got for $100 on Amazon. Comes with white and a blue. Right now the white is off, just the blue is on because I want to show the corals. And it's on a Kessel. I mounted it onto a Kessel neck, the gooseneck, which obviously you're not supposed to do, but with some drilling and stuff I was able to get it done. So that's how the light hangs over the tank. And below it in the cabinet, I've got, I don't know the exact model of it, but I've got a big Marineland canister filled with some phospho guards, some matrix, some bio balls, a bunch of pads, a bunch of stuff to lower phosphates and nitrates because they do run high in my tank. It helps keep them down. And I do not run carbon. I would highly suggest not running carbon in a reef tank. There are no benefits that I've seen. Most experts agree with me. I've never seen anybody disagree. And I can say for a fact that carbon does cause lateral line erosion on tangs, and it almost killed my yellow tang. And he has some minor scarring that will never go away from carbon. And a lot of times at pet stores, you'll see tangs with the lateral line erosion because of carbon. So that's the light, that's the canister, and I don't have to clean the canister very often, maybe a few times a year, and then I change the media or rinse it out. And here's the tank. I've got a heater in here and the sump. I've got the canister running this tank. The canister is good for, I want to say, like 150-gallon tanks, and this is a 56. And I've also got a sump, a quote-unquote sump, which I'll talk about in a minute. And in this tank, I have 11 green chromas, I want to say. I got 12 a long time ago, but I think one died. I think I have 11. I have a yellow tang. I have chocolate domino clownfish, a regular clownfish, a royal grama, and my favorite fish, the green mandarin goby, which is right here. Because he's in the blue light, you can't see his beautiful colors, but that fish is gorgeous. If you don't know what it is, I encourage you to Google green mandarin goby. And I've got a bunch of snails, which are mostly on the rocks right now, and some hermit crabs, which help keep the tank clean. So I've got a lot of fish, and then I've got a lot of corals too. My anemone's kind of closed up right now from a recent water change. I've got two ultra rainbow bubble tips. One is behind the rock. You can see the reflection. I'm so mad that it moved there. And then I've got this guy right here. So I've got two anemones. Actually, I take that back. I have two ultra rainbow bubble tip anemones, and then I have 3 rock flower anemones, 1, 2, and 3. And yes, I technically do have more because I have aptasia, unfortunately, which I've tried to blast with kalkwasser, which sometimes works, sometimes doesn't. Some of them just stick around. Got some bird's nest on top of the rocks here. Those are those green corals. This is like a branching green star polyp, pretty cool. I've got a montipora here. I love the colors of that frag. It's got a few different colors. It's like purple, pink, and orange. That's why I got it. Got a gonopora here, this branching coral. That's a mushroom. That's a baby that this one dropped about a month ago. Probably less than that. Then as far as my other corals go, I've got some big octospawn colonies. I've got I'm just focusing. I've got some octospawn colonies. I've got some torch hammer hybrids. I've got some frog spawn. I've got an Easter egg chalice. I've got a blasto right here. I've got a mummy-eye chalice. I believe that's like the solar chalice. A Duncan, a blasto. The Rasta Zoas right here. I love these guys. Another Zoa. That's my oldest coral, the green hammer right there. I already talked about the anemones. Love that big bright orange mushroom. Some more like frog spawn hammer hybrid stuff right here. I believe these are the Led Zeppelin Zoas. I forget what the name of that coral is. Lobo. I've got a pink frog spawn here. That's a little bit rare one. I've got a Yuma mushroom here. Pretty cool mushroom. I've got some Akins. Favia. My favorite coral right here. The big, giant, green, multicolored Trachophilia that I love. My most expensive coral, my Scalemia. My multicolored Scalemia. And I've got another blasto here, which has got some green eyes, which I guess makes it a little bit rare. I think I hit everything. If you got any specific questions about a coral, just let me know. Because I didn't go over everything just to save time. But I do know everything about all my corals. Just off the top of my head, I might have forgot some names or didn't touch over all of them. So just point out like left side of the tank, right side of the tank color or whatever if you want any specific information about my corals. I live near Chicago, so if you want any questions about where I get my corals, I could tell you some good people, some good places. Or if you just want any questions about care tips, everything I've gotten here is pretty easy to care for. I don't have anything that I would say is hard to care for. So if you got any questions, just let me know. And as far as dosing, I dose Fusion 1 and Fusion 2 almost daily. And then occasionally, like once a week, I dose bicarbonate, which is the product is called Balance, which helps raise the pH. And then I use a product called Ions very rarely, which raises magnesium, but usually my magnesium doesn't need to be raised. And all my corals are doing really good now ever since I got that clownfish out of there and I've got things under control. Everything's good now. I have lost some expensive torches and stuff in the past because I wasn't testing enough and I was letting my calcium and alkalinity swing, so I've got that under control now. When people start reefing, they usually make dumb mistakes. They usually start buying the most expensive corals, which I did because they want cool stuff, but they don't really know what they're doing yet, and they jump into it too soon, and they end up killing them and wasting a lot of money. So that's what I did, and that's what most people do. So I would advise you from doing that and test regularly until you're really confident you know what your levels are. As far as parameters, if you do want to know, I usually keep my calcium like 460, alkalinities like 10 or 11, so a little on the higher end. And my nitrates run pretty high. They're about 20, 25, and phosphates are about 0.25 to 0.5, which are high. But then again, my corals are growing really fast and they look healthy. And there's people that have grown acropore in conditions a lot worse than that. So I feel like as long as you're stable, if you've got high nitrates and high phosphates, you'll be good. And I do water changes every single week, but I do have so many fish and corals that they do produce a lot of waste. And I keep it at between 76 and 78. Here's my controller. I got that off Amazon. I think it's called Bird Ink or something like that. If you want to know more details about it, I'll find it for you. Inkbird, something like that. But it was a cheap controller, but it works really well. I'd highly recommend it. So it keeps my reef tank stable, usually about 77 all the time. And I keep my salinity 1.026. And magnesium is, I want to say like probably 1400, something like that. Pretty normal. So yeah. And I feed mysis shrimp, brine shrimp. Sometimes I'll feed live brine shrimp. I feed 2 different kinds of high quality flake food. I have pellets and I feed copepods sometimes for the mandarin goby and some of the corals. There's some benefits. So that's what I feed. I feed every single day. And I have some coral food too that I got I've got Reefroids, and I've got some food from, they had a sale one time on bulk reef supply. I got some coral food there, so that's what I feed my reef tank. And then this is my quote-unquote sump. This is something unique. You've probably never seen a sump that's an inch higher than the tank. How I do this is I've got a cylinder with a pump that's being weighed down by rocks, which sucks in water through this clear tube. And then through this spray bar, I drilled holes in it, and it sprays the quote-unquote clean water back in the tank. And then to keep this tank from overflowing, the water comes back in the PVC pipe back in here. I've got a heater on here just like in my main tank. I've got the skimmer on here. I've got a hang on the back filter with some media, helps a little bit. And I've got a Kessel 880 light on here. I've got a bunch of rocks growing bacteria. I've got some chiteo and hair algae, just a little bit. It's helping a little bit. And then I've got a giant condi anemone and this beautiful mocha storm clownfish, which aren't really helping. That's why I say it's a quote-unquote sump, because I've got two things that are adding waste to it. I want to get rid of both of them. I'd like to sell them, but I haven't found anybody that wants them right now. If you're in the Chicago area and you want them, you can actually let me know. But this is the clownfish that was killing the corals, because at night he would throw sand on top of corals, and he killed some of my expensive corals. So that's why he's in here in his jail cell. And he doesn't get along with the other clownfish either. They fight. So he's in here by himself. He likes to fight with anybody else, so I don't add anybody else. And he's got his little condi anemone here that he never goes in. I don't really see clownfish hosting condis. But yeah, here he is. So yeah, that's my setup. If you got any specific questions about lighting, filtration, anything like that, dosing, any questions about the fish, the corals, the anemones, whatever, and I use instant ocean salt, by the way. If there's anything you could think of, just let me know, and I can answer them. So yeah, there's the sump. And I've got a bunch of freshwater tanks too, so if you guys ever want to see that, check them out on my channel. And I'll turn the whites on here just so you guys can see. It scares the crap out of the fish when I do that, especially the yellow tang. But yeah, here's my tank in the whites. Obviously the corals look better in the blue. The fish look better with white on. So yeah, I haven't done an update in a long time, so I just wanted to do an update. My tanks are full. I cannot fit any more coral in this tank, so I don't plan on getting any coral anytime soon. And I would actually be interested in selling that beautiful clownfish in anemone, because they're kind of defeating the purpose of it being a sump. So if anybody is interested and they're in the Chicago area, I guess you can let me know. And if you got any other questions, just leave them down below. I've got a small channel, so I'll be able to get back to you very easily. And I want to thank you for watching. If you watched the whole video, that's awesome. I appreciate it. And if you keep fish too, and you want to comment, you want me to check out your channel, I'll be sure to do so. I'd love to see your tank too. So, all right, thanks for watching. And if you liked what you saw, be sure to subscribe. Thanks.